Hey guys, Liquid Fire here. Thanks for joining me again tonight. So, we haven't put out anything in a long time because there's not been any news to get into. But today that changed. So, Way of the Hunter has given us some info on something that's going to get a lot of people's attention. So, if you've been following along with Way of the Hunter development at all, they split the team up. Now, they didn't split and lose people, but they split up and had part of the team working on a new project. The rest of the team has continued working on Way of the Hunter, but we had no idea what the new project was. All we've been able to do is guess and speculate and try to kind of figure out what it's going to be. The two prevailing thoughts were a direct Way of the Hunter sequel or something in the hunting genre. I thought maybe they were going to do some sort of survival type game since they have the Daisy roots on their team as well. But today we found out not the name of the game, but that it is a hunting game. So they dropped a little teaser trailer, and we're going to watch it real quick and then kind of go through it and give some thoughts. And well, with no further ado, if you haven't seen it, here's the complete trailer. All right, so I think that there's not a lot here that we can really get into, not a lot to really dissect, um, but there are a few things. So let's kind of walk through the video a little bit. So I'm going to pause it right here before we even get going into anything else, the birds. So first, if you were listening, it wasn't just that one call. It was birds quacking as they fly, which to me sounds more natural, more real versus the one call. Now, who knows what it would be in game, but that definitely sounded better. And take a look at the shape they're in. So these guys are actually flying in a V. Now, we don't know that this is going to be the way it is in game, so don't necessarily read too much into it, but it does sound like whatever the hunting game ends up being, they did pay attention to all the complaints about the birds and have worked on them. So they sound better. I don't know what they're going to look like. We're not allowed to talk about the first iteration of the wild duck, but hopefully they look good. They definitely sound pretty good, and flying in the V is a good sign. We're going to run that sound again just because that's pretty neat. Here, let's listen. So again, that may be purely cinematic. Who knows? But it sounds good. If we kind of watch through to the next thing, this is going to get a lot of people fired up. And that's that turkey. And we're going to play through this little section a couple of times. Listen to the sounds, but take a look at the movements he makes. Now, something that I don't like is the way they were panning back. You've got all this motion blur baked in, and it makes the image quality look worse than it is. But we're going to kind of play through this a little bit. All right, so let me back that up. So if you watch him, you see the head drop. You've got the tail display going on here. But if you watch, that tail drops too. So that's a lot of movement. That's some good things. We've got the call. We've got the tail being flared out and displayed the way you expect when they're presenting. And then you've got it down normal. So to me, just glancing at it in this video, that's a very nice looking turkey. The sizing looks good, the shape, everything looks pretty good on it. Again, it's hard to judge too much out of this, but it looks pretty good. Something that I am going to judge, and I'm going to play just a few seconds longer here. Take a look at the background. So one of the major flaws that I've had with Way of the Hunter is the way they deal with the LOD, or your level of detail. So At a high level, the more area of your screen that any object takes up, the higher detail it generally gets. Now, we've got stuff out of focus, we've got motion blur and all that going on. So that's going to massively influence how this is going to look. But that level of detail, when you get further away, you start getting less and less detail. It's not using as much processing power because it doesn't need to. You don't need it to be as fully rendered. It doesn't need to be this ultra high resolution image. The problem with Way of the Hunter is when you get out here into some of these longer ranges, things really got blocky. I kind of called it Minecraft looking, and I don't see that here. Not nearly as bad. So that's a good sign. Okay, we've got some hairs running around. Not much we can take out of that. And again, we've got so much going on here with the motion blur and the fog. It's hard to really get a good look, but the quality that we can see looks pretty good. I'm not going to say much about the bunnies. Now this guy, okay, I managed to pause him in a really awkward position. Let me move him a little further. He has the same general look as our wolves. The head down, I don't know, it just looks weird. Now I get he's walking downhill, so that's going to make his head look a little funny. But I don't know, something about him just looks a little weird. I can't really call out any one thing. And again, these are just brief glances at early footage of some game that we don't know what it is yet. But again, looking at the image quality overall, I think it looks really nice. The fog filling in. Now, I hope they do put fog in the game, but I hope they do it only in the mornings and it kind of burns off throughout the day. What I don't want is fog all the time. That's not realistic. It doesn't make for a fun experience. It's too hard to hunt at any range in the fog. But also, this little guy made some noises, so let's listen to his noises a little bit as we come by him in the flyby. So a little grunty sound, definitely something different that I don't remember in Way of the Hunter. So that's a good sign. And then we've got the prerequisite elk, of course. Um, nothing, nothing much to say about this. I mean, the video here doesn't really give us much. We kind of go flying by, but I mean, just looks kind of like an elk. I mean, can't say if it looks any better or worse. I think the overall landscape looks really nice, but as far as the elk, yeah. Now they did work on. I don't say work on. They did showcase some sounds with the moose coming up here. So you can hear him doing his kind of guffawing, the grumbling, and all that, which I think sounds pretty good. Have you, of course, heard the elk call as we went on by? But overall, I think it looks pretty nice. I'm going to let it play through again, and we're just going to let it play and kind of talk as we go. But the ducks sound good. They're in a V. That's a good sign. Actually, I'm going to stop and go back to here. Looking at these trees in the distance, you can see here, this is a really good example of really low LOD. These look much better. And again, we've got blur and stuff going on, but I think the overall quality looks pretty good. Now, some people don't like it, and maybe it's the motion blur and the fog and all that, but I don't know. So I'm going to let it go actually here. Turkey looks good. The bunnies, not much to see there as we fly by. Wolf, I don't know. But the elk in his call. And then we got this big old moose, which his head, look how wide that is. That's a big old head. I'm trying to tilt the camera around to look at him. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. A butterfly, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So that's either 19 or 20 points. Can't really tell. So I'm assuming that's probably a 5-star or equivalent to whatever 5-star would be in the new game. So that's it. I mean, there's not much to say. We don't know anything about the game except that it appears to be a new hunting game. I think that we'll probably get more information before too long. But I did want to make sure that we at least addressed it, brought it up, and shared it for anybody who's not in the Discord or following the NRG social media, because not everybody's going to watch that stuff all the time. But I did want to make sure I shared it out. There's not a lot to it, not a lot of meat, nothing concrete at all. But we can at least kind of look around and get an idea for what the look is. And I mean, I think it looks nice. I don't think that we have enough here to really make any judgments on anything, but I don't think it looks bad. I'm really looking forward to seeing what the game actually is, and is this? Wow, that was a really blurry place to stop it. I wish they had, instead of having all this motion blur, had let us see some of the animals a little more clearly. But is this, the replacement for Way of the Hunter? Is it something completely new? Um, the animals, they look pretty much like Way of the Hunter, but who knows? Anyway, at this point, it's pure speculation on what it is. Um, but I think it's going to look nice, whatever it is. So once I get more information and we get to the point where, we have, actual news to get into, we'll definitely do some more videos on whatever this ends up being. But I wanted to share this with you guys just in case you hadn't seen it. So that's it. Quick, simple, and short tonight. All right, guys. Y'all have a good night. God bless and happy hunting.